Well, here we are. Hi, folks. Doc Martin, that's right, for KRAZ TV, the adult side of KRAZTV.com. It's a book review, and it's about murder, so that's why it's on the adult side. Furious Hours, Murder, Fraud, and the Last Trial of Harper Lee by Casey Sepp. We got this book at the Tucson, Pima County Public Library here in Tucson. Casey Sepp is a writer from the eastern shore of Maryland. After graduating from Harvard with a degree in English, she earned an M. Master of Philosophy and Theology at Oxford as a Rhodes Time. New Republic, Furious Hours is her first book. This is an interesting book. I took a long time to read this, and it's pretty interesting. It's actually a story about Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, America's most favorite book. I suppose it's huge. It's huge. Well, anyways, an African American man that became a preacher and all this. His name was Maxwell. Willie Maxwell was a rural preacher accused of murdering 5 of his family members for insurance monies in the 70s. With the help of a savvy lawyer, he escaped justice for years until a relative shot him dead at the funeral of his last victim. Despite hundreds of witnesses, Maxwell's murderer was acquitted thanks to the same attorney who had previously defended the Reverend. So what a convoluted story. It's in Alexander City, Alabama. And I found out, that Harper Lee was born there, and so he moved away, and she wanted to be a writer, but she went to law school, but she fiddled around, and then she quit the week before she graduated and didn't get her degree, but she knew a lot about law, probably sat in a lot of trials. So I guess it just dawned on me why this is called The Last Trial, because she was at this trial listening in, supposedly, and she gathered some notes, but then she moved to New York and all. So, I don't know if she was or not. I should found out, but it says in there that she was, or one of the last persons in there was Harper Lee at the trial. But anyways, she went and got notes with Truman and compiled the story about this Maxwell being accused and being shot in front of 300 witnesses by a relative. But anyway, her and Truman Capote went out to Kansas, and gathered a lot of stories. Somebody said, well, you didn't give her no credit, but she didn't want the credit in Cold Blood. And Cold Blood was about the 2 guys that killed the prominent family in Kansas. So she come back, and everybody's telling her, well, you should do another book, So Radney was a famous lawyer who became a senator and tried to work for governor and all of this stuff. He was a white guy. But he did help people, and he collaborated with Harper Lee and sent her and the evidence, and she got a treasure trove of story. Of course, she started writing, and to tell you the real truth, though, she almost had the book finished, but she never quite finished that stupid book. It wasn't stupid; it was just stupid, stable and unstable. I hope we connect. Oh, yes, we're back live. Anyways, she took To Kill a Mockingbird. It was called another name, and they got her to rewrite it twice. And the publishers actually were the ones that helped her catapult her into the fame that she did get. So it's a fascinating book about murder and trial, and the ins and outs of Southern life, and how things did work in segregation and Jim Crow and all this stuff. So you just never know how things are going to go and who's on your side and how it'll turn out. But I know it'll turn out good if you read this book, Furious Hours, Murder, Fraud, and the Last Trial of Harper Lee. Casey Sepp, you've done a great job. You're great. Your first book is a real keeper. Folks, read it. If you can, help us at kraztv.com and contribute. Thank you, and keep reading. Zero Channel.